So, do you remember this video? I sure as hell didn't, but the video got 20 likes, so, I'll keep on my end of the promise and do that part 2 for you. The video did get a couple hundred views, so I figured I'd restate some of the stuff I said in that video, so the garden process will always be the same regardless of where you live. So obviously you're going to need a raised bed, and if for some reason you don't know what the hell a raised bed is, it's currently on screen right now. And you're also going to want to repurpose things. I don't know why I put that down in my notes, but repurposing is a big thing, and I actually have a video on that. In fact, I have a part 2 coming out on the 17th of August, 2022. And then water using a hose or an irrigation system. But I have 3 irrigation system videos that you can check out right now. So basically, sometimes when we're growing our plants, we usually like to grow them in grow bags. It's especially common out in the suburbs, especially when you have less room in your garden. That's why repurposing things is such a huge deal, especially in gardening when you're doing that stuff out in the suburbs. But grow bags, those are also a big recommendation for this. But when you're using grow bags, you're probably going to need a trellis for that, especially for things like cucumbers and even some sweet potatoes. So yeah, small trellises, or if you want, I think I've already mentioned this video like 20 times on my channel, but there's a video on Hanson the Dirt's channel which talks about building gardening trellises. Probably not the first time I've mentioned this on my channel, but you should really check it out. But then, smaller trellises, what you put in these things. The only problem with grow bags is that sometimes, like in the extreme heat, the sun just goes right into the soil, and it will absolutely end the plants there. And we had that problem with our potatoes. Our potatoes are no more. Rest in pieces. You see, out in the suburbs, there's like a whole variety of different pests that'll invade your garden, from potato beetles, squash beetles, to even rabbits and voles. But there's one piece of technology that will scare the rabbits and voles out of your garden. And we haven't used this, but I've seen this in many people's gardens before. And what it is just like a thing that makes minimal noise, but it will absolutely scare the living crap out of anything, such as like rabbits and voles that comes near. It won't deal with things like deer. For that, you're going to need oregano, and then potato beetles, soapy mixture, other stuff. A lot of soapy mixture can actually take care of a bunch of different beetles and stuff like that. So that's what I'd recommend for you. And there's actually a video on my channel that you can check out about that, but I'm not going to pressure you into it. Nah, I'd rather not do that, so that way I can keep people on my videos longer, and so that way I can actually do 100 times better on my channel. And yeah, also, subscribe break, so please subscribe. Anyways, back to the video. Alright, so now it comes to where you're going to put your garden. So first of all, in many suburban backyards, you have a ton of trees. My old house had a bunch of trees in the backyard, and the area where we decided to put our garden was in a free zone covered in trees. The reason? Because that was the only area that got the most sunlight in our backyard, and I was not going to put that thing in our front yard. So the backyard is the only sensible place to put it, unless you actually feel comfortable about putting like every single one of your plants on display in your front yard. But you see, chances are your backyard probably doesn't have as many trees as my old house did. Trees will definitely help impact the growth of your garden. So if you have any issues with that, you might need some grow lights, and that's what we use to help grow our garden before we can like move them outside and stuff like that. Because like without doing that, then you'll have issues with moving them outside. And yeah, that's it for this part. So when gardening out in the suburbs, you have 2 options for that. You have 2 options for a watering system. The first one that you have is a hose nozzle. It's pretty normal, and mostly everybody uses that. Or you can go the other way and then use an irrigation system, and that's something that we here out in the rural areas of America will do, because these systems are a little bit harder to build than a hose nozzle, because you don't have to build a hose nozzle. But the irrigation system doesn't come up already for you. You need to build that. So, yeah, you get to choose. I don't have to choose for you. You choose what you want. I don't care what you choose. I don't have a video about hose nozzles, but I do have plenty on irrigation systems. Believe me when I say that there are a ton of different options that you can have for your garden's fence. The first one you can have is you just have like a classical backyard fence. These are much more expensive to build because I don't know how much they cost, but I'm guessing they cost upwards of $500. Or you can use the stuff that we use, which is just like wiring around a bunch of fence posts. And eventually we'll put in a gate to that, but That's not what we currently use right now, but sometimes we just need that extra protection, so we use that. Another one that you could use is you could just use netting around your garden, but it might be a little hard to actually work with that stuff because I remember building netting for our chicken yard to keep the hawk out, and yeah, let's just say that didn't go good. And well, so netting is not really a recommendation of mine. I've never had a really good history with netting. And then we also have some other stuff that you could use, but the list just goes on. There are tons of different fencing options out there that you could use, and yeah, that's pretty much it for fencing.